What I think is amazing about Jimmy is that Jose has found such an awesome friend. They work together. And when I always hear Jose share just what a loyal friend you are and how you guys stick together and help each other, in all the different stressors of work or whatever, that's an amazing thing. And so I think you're an amazing person, so we want to...
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I want to thank Kevin, obviously, for inviting me here. This is actually my first involvement in any kind of PowerMentor event. I kind of feel like it's like Fight Club for anyone that hasn't seen the movie. One of the movies Fight Club is, if it's your first night, you have to fight. So apparently, if this is your first PowerMentor event, you have to give a speech. We've heard some great stories about leadership. We've heard some great stories about people overcoming obstacles. What I kind of want to talk about, though, is the mentees, the people that are going to feed off of this information, feed off of this mentorship. And in order for a mentee to take that information, to use it usefully, they have to have self-confidence in themselves. They have to believe that they're capable of accomplishing all the things that the mentor thinks that they're capable of. So here's my story. When I was 7 years old, I made one of the most important career decisions in my life. I told myself that I was going to be a lawyer and that on weekends I was going to be a Power Ranger. So 7 years old, okay? So obviously it's the weekend, I'm not in my Power Ranger outfit, so I accomplished one of those goals. And my family, my friends, and my mentors along the way, they all supported me. And they all told me, you can do what you set out to do. So by the time I was 17, I was well on my way of accomplishing my goals. 17, I became the first person in my family to graduate from high school. At 17, I was on my way to college. At 17, I became the first person in my family not to get pregnant as a teenager. Although that probably had something to do with human biology. And then I got to law school. First semester of law school, all this ambition, all this momentum, optimism, passion, that I'm here to become that lawyer that I set out to become. And then something happened. For anyone here that's a lawyer, or anyone here that's thinking about going to law school, you're going to find out about the amount of reading that you have to do. Okay. In law school, the weight of all the reading that you have to do, the fact that I was alone, miles and miles away from my home, from my family, from my friends, from my mentors, and the fact that I was surrounded by people that had mom and dad that were lawyers, that were judges, that I was surrounded by people that already had a job waiting for them because mom or dad had this law firm and they were partners, so they had a job waiting for them. All that got to me. And I started thinking, maybe at 7 years old I wasn't exactly the smartest kid. Maybe I didn't make the right decision to decide to become a lawyer. Maybe I don't belong here. That started going through my mind, and it made me decide that I wanted to quit. The only thing that was heavier than the pressure that I felt from being in law school was the pressure that I felt from my family, from my friends, from all my mentors. The pressure that I felt to become the successful lawyer that I told everyone I was going to be. And here I am, 4 months into it, and the rug's basically been pulled out from underneath me. I'm thinking about quitting. So with this mindset in mind, I had a night that I will never forget. It's nothing amazing, nothing, to make a movie about. It was just a Thursday night in the law library, sitting there reading a chapter out of my contracts book. kind of look around and I realize that there's no one else in the law library with me. The only other person in there is the janitor.
That's awesome.
So if the janitor is there, that means that it's close to 11 p.m. and that the law library is about to close. So I watch the janitor's pushing chairs into the table, wiping down tables. I start packing up my books, grab my backpack, close up my laptop. I go down to my locker to pick up the 2 books that I'm going to have to read a chapter from each of those books before I can even go to bed. Again, I keep thinking to myself, why am I doing this? I just quit. Do I really need to be here? So at that time, I had to take the bus to get to my apartment. And as I'm walking from my locker, with my backpack, with my books, I keep thinking, you know what? If I quit today, I could probably call my boss at the restaurant that I used to work at and get my job back on Monday. Or, if I quit today, maybe I'll just use that student loan money that I have, disappear for a while, and then I won't have to face all the people that are expecting me to become a successful lawyer. I won't have to tell them that I quit. Okay. I can just get away for a little bit. As I'm thinking this, and as I get onto the bus, all this self-doubt, all these feelings that I'm better off quitting, were consuming my mind. I didn't notice that one other particular person had gotten on that bus with me. And as I'm thinking all these thoughts to myself, I look up and I realize that that same janitor had got on the bus and taken a seat right across from me. Janitor's looking at me with my backpack, with my laptop, with my 2 law books on my lap. Now I'm looking at him with his lunch pail in one hand, with his bus pass in the other, and on his lap, I'll never forget, I saw a polo shirt and saw a hat with the McDonald's logo on it. And as my eyes see that polo shirt and that hat, I can remember my eyes going up towards his face and just catching his eyes. And what I saw in his face was this look. He didn't have to say a word to me. But with that look alone, I knew that he would trade me places in a heartbeat if he could. I knew nothing about this gentleman, aside from the fact that he's a hardworking guy that has 2 jobs. And I didn't know if he was just coming back from his first job at McDonald's, and his job as a janitor was a second job, or vice versa. He was on his way to his second job. I had no idea. I had no idea about this gentleman. I didn't know anything about him. But just that look that he gave me told me that he probably found himself in a similar situation where he thought about giving up. I'm sure he had hopes and dreams. I'm sure he found himself in a similar situation. And in that moment, with that one split-second look that we shared, I realized that my job was easy. At that point, what was my job? My job was to read books. My job was to go to class. My job was to learn. To try to make myself a better person with the career path that I had chosen at 7 years old. That was my job, and my job is easy. Okay? In comparison to what other people have to get through. And here I am thinking about quitting because maybe I got a bad grade on some paper. Or maybe because the professor had called on me in class and I had screwed up royally. But that one night, that one look that we shared, basically shaped the rest of my law school career. The career that I currently have as a public defender here in San Diego, and really the rest of my life. Because again, my job is easy. Compared what other people have to go through. And I needed that perspective that I got from that one gentleman who was a complete stranger to me. This one gentleman that I just happened to see twice in one night, but left this lasting impact on me. Gave me the perspective that if something seems challenging, if something seems hard, if you feel like you're failing at it, it's because you're doing something you should be doing. Because you're challenging yourself. Because the outcome that's waiting for you is going to be worth it. Thank you.